Here we are again, Coley. We're standing pitch side. The changing rooms have gone. There's a little bit of roof being put on the new development. The development off the field continues apace. It's January as well. I'm sure you want the on the field development to continue apace. How much momentum is there at the minute behind this club?
It's a good place to be. There's a feel-good factor, that's for sure. And I think when that club opens in a couple of weeks behind us, I think that'll enhance it. But I've said this for a long time. People go on about the team spirit at Accrington and how it can generate results. And the best way to foster team spirit is to win games, but don't get beat. Or perform well in adversity, and I think we've done all that over the last 5 weeks. So, the lads are starting to believe in each other, which always helps. And we've got a strong enough squad. We've lost a few players, particularly in the striking department, as I'm sure you're going to allude to in a bit, with Jovan going back. So that's something that we're going to have to reinforce. And it's just picking the right one. So you don't want to just jump in for the sake of it, well, not for the sake of it, but jump in and panic. So we've got a few irons in the fire on this.
Just on the sort of wider club picture, from chairman kind of all the way down to the ground staff and the people who work around the place, when the team's doing well, do you find that has a positive impact on everybody?
I think so. The youth team have been doing remarkably well. I know they lost you tonight, but putting in a sterling effort against a really good side. And everyone wants to do the best for the club, and that's all you can ask for, really. Certainly all you can ask for from the players. Everyone knows my thoughts about. I think the players are the lifeblood of the club. And when you get them on side, and you get them fighting for the club like they have been doing, you get into the realms of special feelings and special moments in time. And we've had quite a few of them over the years. We've had some really poor ones as well, but we've had some great moments here. And that's good when you look back on them. And sometimes looking back on them motivates you to one time.
You mentioned the transfer window and the kind of recruitment process. How are you finding it? I know you always hate these windows. I know you've said that they get harder and harder. With the COVID situation, with teams perhaps needing bigger squads or thinking they need bigger squads, is it as hard as it's ever been?
Probably is. Everyone's starting to reinforce. And sometimes you can get numbers and not the quality, and we don't want to do that. But when you're doing okay and you're trying to bring players in who you can't say that you're going to go straight into the starting 11, that makes it a little bit difficult. So they have to understand, and we've had this conversation lots of times before. It takes a certain type to perform well at Accrington. And when we get them going, they generally go on to a good thing.
I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to work out that forward areas are a priority. Is that the hardest thing to find in the transfer window? Because the guys who score the goals are the expensive ones, the ones that are in demand?
I think whatever area you're looking for is always the hardest, because there seems to be a dearth of them. So if it's goalkeepers or if it's centre halves or full-backs, whatever you want at the time, always seems to pose some problems. Everyone wants someone who works their socks off, can win headers, can run the channels, is quick and score 25 goals. They're going into the Premiership if they can do that. But there's lads out there. There's lads out there who are looking for an opportunity, and we've just got to be mindful that we get the right one.
And I suppose the other side of it is always whether there's interest in your players. Is there anything that you've heard on that front?
I've heard nothing, and I'd like to hear nothing. And the problem that you get is that if something is going to happen with our players, it's going to happen now rather than on the 30th of January. But that's football. If you don't like it, get out of it.
Game-wise, I know you don't like drawing games very much. You're very much a guy who would rather risk a defeat to get a victory. How impressed have you been with the resilience though in the last couple of games?
you know, the start, as I said before, they're starting to believe in themselves and believe in each other, but it takes a lot of hard work, and I was just pleased with the overall performance on Saturday. You know, probably more so. I mean, the amount of running and organisation that we had to do against MK Dons was totally different from the Sunderland game. We still created lots of opportunities against Sunderland, and that's what pleased me the most. And they're the team who were up there, you know, could have gone top at the weekend. And if we're slugging it out with them and not looking out of place, I did make a silly comment after the game, and I said if you'd come down from Mars, you wouldn't know which one. And it's difficult to come down from Mars, unless you're Mars. I don't know whether they exist. But if we're slugging out with the top teams and not looking out of place, it shows you that we belong in League One.
You finished 11th in League One last season. You've got a long record of kind of improving on league finishes. Is that important to you, to better that?
I always like to try and incrementally improve. You always try to incrementally improve your team. But it gets harder and harder with the quality of clubs and of teams that come down, and the magnitude of clubs and the quality of teams that have come into the league. And you've only got to look at the list of names who are below us at the moment to realise that our lads are giving everything they can just to try and keep our heads above the waterline. So we'll keep doing that, and we'll see where that takes us.
Ipswich this weekend, who are below you in the league table. There are so many enormous clubs in this league, Ipswich being one of them. Does that make any difference anymore? You can't kind of distinguish them, can you? Because there's so many of them.
Yes, you know, Ipswich, well, you know, because I've got a good relationship with Paul Cook, so you know, him being there this season and, you know, unfortunately getting dismissed. But I was party to when he was making signings, I was speaking to him, you know, 3 or 4 times a week. And I seen the squad that he put together there, and I still think that's the best squad in the league, if I'm honest. And everyone's waiting for them to get going. Eventually they will get going, and they'll go on a run. And that'll have been down to Paul's recruitment. Now obviously this lad's come in, and from all accounts he's been really good with the players. He's got them, you know, firing, which is good for him. And that club eventually will get it right.
For Kieran McKenna, how different will it be from being part of the staff at Manchester United and getting all that ground into going in and being number one at Ipswich?
Yeah, you know, probably being, you know, in such a senior role at Manchester United won't faze him now with the Ipswich job. So that's been a good grounding for him. And he obviously knows his onions, or he wouldn't have been working at such a level he's been working at. He wouldn't have got the Ipswich job. So, you know, fair play to him, and I hope he has a good career. You know, but I hope that we don't enhance that on Saturday. I hope we can put a little spanner in his works.
How's your personnel looking? Obviously another suspension with Ross Sykes.
Yeah, that's a blow for us because Ross has been outstanding. But it gives other people opportunities, and I think one of the current themes of this season is whenever anyone's got an opportunity, they've grabbed it. Not so much with both hands, but both hands, the feet, and they've held on for it for dear life. You know, and it gives someone else an opportunity.
How's Joe Pritchard?
He's getting there slowly. You know, it was a big psychological blow as well for him, and thankfully he's overcome that. And I still think we'll see Joe this year firing and doing well for this club.
Is it difficult when a player is having these injury setbacks? In some ways, are they more difficult than the initial prognosis of you're going to be out for so long?
Yeah, the reoccurrence of injuries is the one that hurts the most. I was lucky in my career that the injuries I had, most of them were fractures, and you know they just healed up to me. And I was lucky that I didn't have any long-term muscular injuries. So, but I knew how hard it was when I came back from my broken leg, and how mentally strong I had to be to work hard to get myself into good condition to be able to perform again. I've got no doubt whatsoever that Joe's not mentally strong to work through that, because he is. And I know he's desperate to get back playing for himself and for this football club and for the lads in Ireland. I know the lads want him back because he's such a key member of our squad.